Yeah, it's interesting that day because it started like any other day in the directorship of Jim Comey. He was always on the go. He saw the FBI as this deployed force that's 56 major cities around the country, and so he was constantly on the go visiting the troops. This particular day, we were set to fly from Washington down to Florida, where he was going to meet with law enforcement officers, and then we were going to fly to Los Angeles, where he would take part in a diversity recruitment event to try to bring in highly talented people of color to join the FBI. Before that, since we got to LA early, he wanted to go by the field office and, again, see the troops. And it was surreal because this was my old field office. And so I was bringing, that's what I felt like. I'm bringing the director, like, look who I brought, and all my family and friends, like show and tell. And so it was, it started out great. We had, meeting with leadership. And again, he just wanted to learn, okay, what are the top cases going on? What are you folks doing? And so he makes laps around the building. He gets about 3 floors up, and we stop into the building's operations center where there are a group of employees that are gathered for, I think, a training program. And so he starts addressing them. He wants to give them some comments on, the state of the FBI. And what was interesting is, as his special assistant, I'd kind of perfected this art of being on my phone, typing away, preparing for whatever was going to come next while kind of listening to him out of one ear. And so he stops talking, and the silence snaps me out of that, my reading, and I look at him, and he's looking at me, and he's nodding to the back of the room where there were 2 large television screens. The first one was tuned to Fox News, and it said, Comey resigns. And so he was trying to process this, not knowing what was going on.
Not having resigned.
I was saying, presumably he would know if he had resigned. And so he actually thought that it was some creative tech agent pulling a joke on him in the office, creating the chyron. And then just a little bit later, I think seconds later, CNN came on, our colleague Jeff Zeleny at the White House, reporting that no, he had indeed been fired. And what was interesting is that, it's shock. I mean, this isn't the shock that comes from danger or that kind of thing. It's just like shock of, wow, I'm trying to process what's going on here. And so he continues talking. So I step outside the room and call back to Washington to try to figure out what's going on. And I got a hold of one of the senior leaders who hadn't heard the news yet. He was on his way home. And so he turns around, and so I take Comey to the side office just so we can kind of sit and make calls and process what's going on. And then, that's how we learn how this transpired, where you essentially have the president's personal bodyguard dropping off a letter at the escort desk, which you've been through many times,
yes,
right, to get your badge, and saying, hey, I got this for the director. Not even realizing he's not even in the same time zone. Which is that's of interest in the manner that went down, because this isn't this tough guy, you're fired, kind of reputation. It's, I'm going to send my guy to go give you a letter. So we're trying to process what's going on. We eventually get word that, okay, they scan the letter, they send it back. Yes, indeed, the director has been fired. And then from there, it was just this state of chaos, because it was hard to process in the moment why he had been fired. Because, we knew about the loyalty pledge. We knew about the Flynn, asking that investigation to be dropped. And then just before that, the president was getting increasingly angry with Comey because Comey refused to publicly announce that Trump was not under investigation. And so this continued, obviously, to grate on the president.
So at this point, you're not thinking this must have to do with the Clinton email investigation.
Well, we saw the letter from Rod Rosenstein.
Until you saw the letter, right?
The letter, yeah. So until then, right. So our office in D.C. scanned the letter. They sent it back to us, and we're sitting there reading it. And that's when the blood started to boil, because you're thinking, are you kidding me? The Hillary Clinton email investigation. If that were the case, that they were upset with him for that, they would have fired him, on day one of the presidency. So we knew that was a sham.